What up? This is Lord Maitreya with the Super Longevity Institute. Today's episode is called Blessed by Pope John II. Blessed by Pope John II. I know a lot of y'all is gonna be like what? Why is he calling the episode Pope John II? Blessed by Pope John II. I thought he was this super scientific dude. Yeah, I come from a place in the South Bronx where the only thing we were known for is the fact that Pope John II came and blessed the grounds before they built the building. And so that's why I named it that. That's just a clue to some my history. I just wanted to let y'all know that. And also, it made me think of these books for some reason. Well, I don't know. But I guess maybe because of the conversation I had earlier with one of my day ones. And he didn't know that, I study history. I try to, learn about the history of my building, the history of my family. I like history. I like knowing about the past. And so I told him, I was like, yo, the building used to be like a junkyard. And the Pope knew that the building was going to be built. And he knew the despair in the South Bronx, because when he was coming through, he was on his way to Yankee Stadium. And it was people on the fire escape, waiting for him to come through. And he had this Spanish and Latino woman come up, and I think they gave him something, or they spoke to him. It was a Latino or black. Oh, it was yeah. Damn, I remember this. I thought this was so dope, and I'm an atheist. I thought this was dope. I'm not even gonna front. He had a Latino woman, a black woman, and an Italian woman. Yo, he said, yo, these are the ethnic groups that make it up this area. I'm going to talk to each one. I thought that was dope. I respected that. And so he blessed those grounds, and then the building was built. But I always think about it in my head, how it must have looked, because I wasn't there. The only thing I can think about is what I can imagine, though. I have a real strong imagination. And I was like, damn, it must have looked crazy with this guy all in white. And he's coming to this dirty, dingy place called the South Bronx, where there's poverty, despair, etc. And they waiting. People are looking outside their window. People are hanging out on a back porch. People waiting on a fire escape. I keep seeing kids on a fire escape just waiting. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Anyway, moving right along. These books, just it helps me reflect, and it opens up my imagination. The first book I want to talk about is called The Messiah from Mars. It's a great book. I stumbled on it on Amazon when I was when I was looking for the history. I was searching about the history of my neighborhood, because we didn't know that Pope John II came through like that until they built a sign. I knew before the sign was put up, but when we was growing up, we didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? And they just put a sign up that commiserates the date when he came through. I always used to make fun of my friends and say, we got ties to the Vatican. I used to always say that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, we didn't know. And they wrote in the newspaper. Yeah, I almost lost my train of thought. They wrote in the newspaper about I'm from Christopher Cross on Morris Avenue, by the way. Anyway, I almost forgot what I was gonna say again. Damn. Oh, they wrote in the newspaper, Pope blessings, no miracles, about my area, and I got insulted, yo. Nobody got insulted but me. I got insulted. I ain't even gonna front. I said, how dare you? You gonna say Pope? And I'm an atheist. I was like, how you gonna say Pope blessings, no miracles, as if we're not capable of performing high? We're not capable of high performance. That's what they're trying to say. And they wrote this in the newspaper. That's when they put that sign up to commemorate the day when Pope John II came through and blessed those grounds. You know what I'm saying? So it reminded me of this book, because when I was doing the research, on my area, this is the book that comes to mind, and I thought I would just share it with y'all. It's a special book. One, because I'm from Morris. Um, yeah, and let me read the back. Uh, I thought it was interesting that George Carlin wrote. He had something to say on the back of the book about the book, and he's an atheist, anti-government type of guy. So I knew it was dope just off the rip. He said, "This is what George Carlin said. He's one of my favorite comedians. He's a great comedian. Look him up if you don't know who he is." He says, "I was prepared for my usual serving of sharp Tony Hendra satire. I was not prepared for his sensitive and highly convincing exposition of the true teachings of Christ. I love this book." All right, let me tell you what it's about. In the not so distant future of Tony Hendra's novel, the tide of righteousness in the form of executions, barking evangelists, tank like SUVs, and a movie industry run entirely by the Christian right has swept the nation. Aside from the non-white, the non-Christian, the non-wealthy, all are believers. But a few skeptics remain, among them a washed-up journalist named Johnny Gricko. Johnny been hearing rumors about a media-shy young man known as Jay, who roams through the ghettos healing the sick, tossing off miracles. Soft-spoken, shabbily dressed, Jay is unlikely savior for this anti-intolerant American. As he makes his rounds, gathers followers, enemies among the righteous powers that be, Johnny finds it harder and harder to doubt him. Yeah, the Messiah of Morris. Look at the graffiti. Isn't that blue or orange dope? Then you got a man in the hood. You can't see his face. Tony Hendra. Yeah. Shout out to Morris Ave. 151. The next book, Boys and Girls, is Facts About the States. When I was doing my album, and I was thinking about the album cover seal, this is what inspired me. Facts About the States, second edition, Joseph Nathan Kane. When y'all see this and y'all listen to the album, you're gonna be, that kid is nice. You're gonna respect this. You're gonna respect this intellect. Y'all gonna bow down, yo. Because we got vision too. We got vision too. That's all I'm saying. Y'all said Pope blessings, no miracles, right? Anyway, Joseph Kane is the author. So it's going through each state. Each state has a motto, a seal, and the number that it entered statehood. Okay. So yeah, it talks about when it was formed, how it was formed. It talks about the history. This is why this book is so dope. See? Let me show you. I don't play. Yeah, can you see that? That's the state seal right there. Did you know that Utah is the nickname? Every state has a real name and a nickname. A real name and a nickname. Like New York City, the Empire State. Utah, the Mormon State. Let that sink in. The Mormons can have a state, but hip hop can't. I don't know, man. I think it's just because people are not motivated enough to want to live in a hip hop city. They're not really a part. They're not really for the culture. They don't have no writings in there. They don't have no graffiti on the walls. Check the graffiti on the walls. I don't have paintings in frames, B. For all your wannabe Africans, African Americans, African / American. You don't got no paintings on your walls, but you call yourself an African. I'm a hip hop. I got paintings on my walls. Okay? I got paintings on my walls. I don't have pictures in frames. Okay? I don't put pictures in frames. We write on walls. The whole wall is our frame. Okay? Matter of fact, our minds can't be framed. Right? This is why we have to watch. This is why we have to put graffiti on the walls. And you know, a lot of y'all guys, y'all say y'all hip hoppers, right? Why y'all don't got no graffiti on your walls? Y'all don't even go look for the graffiti guys that's a part of our culture. They can't get work. Y'all don't even go to them and say, "Yo, man, can you come and do my wall in my home?" You know what I'm saying? Super Longevity Institute. This is blessed by Pope John II, man. You know what I'm saying? I know people they're gonna be like, man, Matrez, all my science guys, what's Matrez talking? They don't understand. I look at my approach to hip hop and how I approach the world is totally different. I'm creative. I use creativity to move forward. Anyway, facts about the state. Go get that book. Put that on your shelf. All right, boys and girls. Next drink. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. We're gonna get busy today, yo. Bam. I just wanted to hold the place. Something. Let me put a placeholder right there. Madeira wines. American views on Madeira wine. Yeah. Madeira wine is all of you couldn't in colonial times, they didn't even consider you a patriot if you didn't drink Madeira wine, baby. Did you know that? I know all my black scholars gonna be mad at me. They're gonna be, why is he talking about American history so much? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. So what? Okay. For all my life extensionists, you know why I picked Madeira wine. If you're a true life extensionist, you know why. Right? Let me read something to you that I thought was interesting. It's a letter from Benjamin Franklin. And you know what? I dropped my glasses, but got them. You know what? I didn't think this out, but it's close to July 4th. This is really appropriate for July 4th. It says in the book, observations, the generally prevailing doctrines of life and death to the same. Benjamin Franklin. Your observation on the causes of death and experience which you propose for recalling to life those who appear to have been killed by lightning demonstrate equally your sagacity and humanity. It appears that doctrines of life and death in general are yet but a little understood. I have seen instances of common flies preserved in a manner somewhat similar. They had been drowned in Madeira wine, apparently about the time when it was bottled in Virginia to be sent to London. After opening one of the bottles of the house of a friend where I was, 3 drowned flies fell into the first glass, which was filled. Having heard it remarked that drowned flies were incapable of being revived by the rays, having heard it remarked that drowned flies were capable of being revived by the rays of the sun, I propose making an experiment upon these. They were therefore exposed to the sun upon a sieve which had been employed to strain them out of the wine. In less than 3 hours, two of them began by degrees to recover life. They commenced by some conclusive motions in dyes, and at length they raised themselves up upon their legs and wiped their eyes. Just listen carefully. With their forefeet beat and brushed their eggs with their hind feet, and soon after began to fly, finding themselves in old England without knowing how they came. The third continued lifeless until sunset, when losing all hopes of him, he was thrown away. I wish it were possible, this is Benjamin Franklin now, I wish it were possible from this instance to invent a method of embalming drowned persons in such a manner that they might be recalled to life at any period, however distant, for having very ardent desire to see and observe the state of America, in 100 years hence. I should prefer to an ordinary death than being immersed in a cask of Madeira wine with a few friends. Until that time, then to be recalled to life by the solar warmth of my dear country. But since in all probability we live in an age too early and too near the infancy of science to see such an art brought in our time to its perfection, I must, for the present, content myself with the treat which you are so kind as to promise me of the resurrection of a fowl or a turkey cock. Madeira wine. What Benjamin Franklin just said, my friends, is cryonics. Madeira wine is just a metaphor for liquid nitrogen. They didn't think of liquid nitrogen as being to preserve the body and suspend an animation. So he had to use what he knew, which was Madeira wine. He wanted to be in a cask, submerged in a cask of Madeira wine, to be recalled back to life 100 years to see to see the state of America. Cry out, cryonics. Okay, get that book. There's other stuff in this book that's interesting. American views of Madeira wine. Yeah, this is a great book. Oh, last but not least, this is real special, yo. Some real scholarship shit here, man. Seriously. We ain't trying to waste our time. My boy Bob Hieronymus, who's the only living historian on the reverse of the seal, told me to get this book when I interviewed him. I never published it. I got a couple of interviews, written interviews I never published. Bob Hieronymus is recognized by the government to be the only living historian on the seal, the reverse of the seal, the pyramid side. He told me to get this book. It's put out by the government. It's called The Eagle and the Shield. It's a whole history on how the seal came about. Look at that right there. Can you see that? They show you what they was trying to. They show you how they made it, how they came up with it. The Eagle and the Shield. Department of State put this out. Okay. Okay. Americans didn't even know they had a reverse of the seal until the 30s. Okay. Until the 30s. We only knew the obverse, the eagle part of the seal. No one knew that there was a reverse. It's like you reverse the curse or something, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm just kidding. I'm on some science stuff. Anyway. Yeah. Y'all gotta get all those books, man. And then when I put out my album, you'll understand. You don't have to read them right away. Put them on your shelf. When you're ready to read them, go read them. Dump them here, dump them there. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm about to drop this album, Betrayal 1 in Hip Hop State. Another thing is tomorrow, which is June 23rd, Immortality or Bust. I make an appearance in this documentary. And a gentleman named Zoltan Istvan is running for president in 2016. And he's the founder of the party he created called the Transhumanist Party. You know, so that was in 2016. I came through. I went to the museum, the Greyhound Museum, Civil Rights Museum, and I seen all these pictures of all these young people with prison numbers, pictures with prison numbers in front of them. It left a really big impression on me. I took the Greyhound into the city. I got there by Greyhound, and when I was looking out the window, it was two people with Confederate flags on, and that's when I knew. I was like, "Yo, this is crazy." Ain't nothing changed. Martin Luther King was talking about police brutality 40 years ago. And let me tell you something. You guys keep talking about the same arguments. You keep telling me what I can and cannot do. I will do what I want to do. Okay, and nobody gonna tell me what I should or should not do anymore. I'll listen to advice, but other than that, I'll take only certain people's advice. I don't take everybody's advice. You know what I'm saying? Y'all keep coming up with the same stinking ideas, the same thing, same thing, same thing. You know, we gonna have to be experimental. We gonna have to try things that we never tried before. See what happens. You know what I'm saying? Can't be scared to experiment. You might end up on top because you experiment. You know what I'm saying? So, blessed by Pope John II, man. I'm from Christopher Cross in the South Bronx, 151st and Morris. You know what I'm saying? Our building was our housing project was only notoriety was the fact that Pope John II came and blessed the grounds before they built they built our complex. That's why I named it today. That's been on my mind today. But I want y'all to go on Amazon and check out the movie Immortality or Bust. Daniel Selinger is the director, and it's about Zoltan's 2016 run. All right. They used my music during the credits. I made a few appearances. I know I'm repeating myself, but I just want to make sure you get it. All right. This is Lord Maitreya with the Super Longevity Institute. Single eye salute. One love.